an empty cafe at American Zarathustra. I am, first of all, so grateful to all the new subscribers. You guys have been catching me on No White Guilt, the After Party, and through the Comicsgate scene and Twitter and all over the place. So I'm extrememely grateful to have some newcomers in on the team, and it's just cool. So wanted to do a bit of an update. Of course, I have my podcast coming out soon. That's been delayed. The people who are rebuilding the site are, I guess, having some issues of some kind, but it's coming. And when it comes, it will be epic. There will be the American Zarathustra show. It's going to be Tuesdays at 6 to 8. And I interview all kinds of people in the white identity politics sphere, mostly about the arts and culture, of course, politics, spirituality, and various things related to culture and the arts. So, just a couple updates here. I haven't really focused too much on regular production with YouTube. I would like to do more, though. I think there's a lot of fun kind of side projects and interviews, and there's just so many cool and interesting people in the movement, and not everyone's kind of like a superstar that brings an audience or something like that, but that doesn't matter because they're interesting people and interesting topics to talk about. So yeah, very many things going on. Just I'm not going to go super far into the whole coronavirus scenario where a lot of us are oversaturated with news about that, but I would like to give my perspective on the thing. And as always, there's this kind of social spectrum of people who are kind of on one side. They're extremely fear mongering. I guess there's money to be made from panic, making kind of shilling for that, I guess. And I don't know. It's a free market. People can do what they want. I think just so long as they're telling the truth and helping people and providing a good service or information, that's fine. But I think for the rest of us, we have to get through the weeds there, and try to say, okay, how much of this is meant to freak me out and kind of hook me on this information resource, and how much of it is just kind of like raw data that I need to know. I think in a time like this, reducing fear is the thing we should be focusing on rather than creating fear. Along that spectrum, you also have kind of the Boogaloo Bros, of which many are my friends, and that's all good. But I think things like this kind of set a fire under them. They get kind of, I don't know, excited, like this is it, and that kind of thing. And they can go off on their own kind of tangents. It's tricky because on the one hand, I generally have trust and faith in that crowd. And I think, for example, what they did showing up in Virginia for that kind of the gun rally, I forget what it was called, but it was just before the virus came out. That was very peaceful. People were extremely cool and solid. And it looked as if they were going into some kind of, I don't know what to call it, when, some shill is put inside a crowd to spark a gunfight or something, and then the media will say, "Oh my God, see, we got to take your guns away." Well, that never happened, thank God, and our people were cool about it. So, but here we are in another zone here, and people are talking about their bug out spots and this, that, and the other thing, and the question comes down to, is the government going to protect us, or are they going to go full new world order? There's a lot of fear, and that really is the crux of the matter. That is the fulcrum of this entire question: is QAnon right? Will Trump be, and the Trump administration and the U.S. military, are they going to do the right thing? Will the deep state set off some kind of fake terrorist attack to kind of, if the coronavirus itself is not a terrorist attack already, you know, what's going to happen? That's definitely serious and troublesome. I've been saying this is the new 9/11, but it's far greater. Um, so I'm not, I'm going to try to keep people calm, and I'm saying things like it's the new 9/11. But, this, in all seriousness, though, I think we'd have to try to maintain calm, get the facts out, talk to each other, talk to people who don't know what's going on, of which there are very, very many. I was just walking my dog the other day, and our neighbor was out, older lady, and she's scared. She's scared, and I kind of chatted to her a little bit. I said, "Do you know what the deep state is?" She looked at me sideways, like, "All right, well, never mind. It's just calm down, and try to keep people cool. We have to work together." Um, I gotta say, if you live in a city, it's probably the worst place to be right now. I hate to say this, but if you can get out, stay with some friends or relatives, out in the country, or something of that nature, it's highly recommended. Um, that speaks for itself. So I have to say, I hang out with some pretty amazing people. I have, I'll say, intel resources, without going into detail, that are really, really good and very trustworthy. And so, you know, like anything in the movement and in politics and life in general, you always have to be like a detective, right? You go out, you find as much information from the best resources you can, you corroborate those things, you tie things together, and then you can come up with a reasonable belief in something. I always try to say, how would this hold up in a court of law? So beyond doubt, I can say that I'm like in the 75% range of believing in what QAnon is saying right now. So there's this now switches into the social realm, because there's people in my audience and beyond that will, they use the word Q-tard, and they kind of poo-poo it, or they, maybe they jumped in to check out Q at one point. They got a gander at it, and for one reason or another, they thought, oh, this is a psyop, or this doesn't look good, or maybe they didn't like the people that were following it. They thought, oh, MAGA tards, or one thing or another. Everybody's got an attitude about something, and I can't say I don't either, but we kind of need to move away from that and look at the data, and try to go through, has this matched up over time? And the real key, I think, to the QAnon world are the Anons. Actually, it's the anonymous researchers that go out and answer the questions that Q poses, and then they bring the data back to the resources, and people look at it, they look it over, they confirm things. I do feel that some of it's very cryptic. There's always a level of having to interpret things. I don't think QAnons themselves are always 100% sure of everything. Tough to say, but what I cannot, and if you can, convince me of this, please do. I'm open to hearing all arguments, but I cannot see how this is a psyop. So, for what reason would this? How would that work? Right? Psyops generally lead you away from the truth, right? Or they confuse the truth. They'll kind of muss it up with a bunch of different things that just make you doubt whether or not this is true or not. So, I'll put it this way. The intel that I have, and the trusted friends and patriots that I communicate with, are far more into this, and they've been in it for a long time, yada yada. So suffice to say, I trust their judgment, and they draw the lines or connect the dots very clearly for me. So yeah, that's how I've come to where I'm at. And so, to kind of cut to the chase here, I apologize for being long-winded sometimes. To cut to the chase, I do feel that we are taking down the deep state, that the virus, and although it's real, is a smokescreen, or something to I would say the Trump admin and the military are using it to recalibrate the entire country. There are over 100,000 sealed indictments against people in the deep state and beyond. And these are the things that are coming down the line. The deep state is not, or the globalists are not going to go down without a fight. There is, I mean, this is just speculation. I have no evidence to say this, so don't quote me. But I would guesstimate that in a situation like this, there could be some kind of, fake terrorist attacks that occur. Again, more speculation. Could this be the time to call on all the Muslim cells or the MS-13, to rise up, or the Antifa to rise up? It's a terrifying prospect. It really is. And I mean, in that case, you could see why having the National Guard and the military stationed all over the country would be there, right? Because, right, they don't do those things unless something's coming down the line. So this is my suspicion. And I strongly invite people to chime in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Ideally, back it up with some data, some links. This isn't a fear-mongering channel. This is a place to talk about things realistically, to not be afraid to talk about things. In Facebook, Twitter, mostly Facebook, you can get into these vicious fights and people insulting each other. And I don't really jive with that kind of environment. I really just want us all to kind of grow up and just be straight here. We got some serious things to talk about. Leave the ego things at the door. So that's that on that topic. Let's lighten it. Some positive things. So we're going to lighten it up a little bit here. Let's get out of the this graphic for a second. So the Dynamite Thor campaign is over. And I want to thank anybody and everybody who participated in that. We had 153 backers. This is a 1-month campaign. We made $6,841. Our goal was $5,000, so we exceeded that. Thank you again. You have to understand that in this particular Kickstarter, we started off where Kickstarter had kind of shadow banned us. Pardon me. They made it so that we were not searchable, and there's speculation about that maybe they were trying to do that to prevent harassment from social justice warriors. The author, John Delarose, he's got his haters. He's a fabulous guy, tremendous writer, and I hope to work with him more in the future. He really does great things, and he's not afraid, to be, honest and politically incorrect and all that stuff. He's on our side. He's a good guy. So, the SJWs don't like that, right? They want to smash us down, yada, yada. So anyway, that happened. John was able to communicate with Kickstarter, and they made the campaign searchable. However, the first week and a half or 2 weeks is critical for making money. And so that really, broke our knee in a sense there in this kind of little 1-month marathon. So that's rough. And then towards the last week or whatever, towards the end of this campaign, the coronavirus event happened. So, it was really a rough ride, and it's kind of surprising that we exceeded our goal of 5,000. So I really have to just, hats off to everybody who's been a part of that. And I very strongly urge my subscribers to check out this site here. It's, let's see, what do we got here? Dynamite Thor. You can just Google Dynamite Thor and you're going to find it. But this is John's page where you can come and get this issue. This is a graphic novel. It's longer than a 22-page comic, so the price is a bit higher. It's got some bonus features. The cover is by comic book legend Ron Friends, I believe, and so it's quite beautiful. I obviously did the story, the artwork inside. There's another part of this where John took the original 1950s comics and recolorized them, and this is a cover that I did for that piece. So that's a kind of a cool bonus feature here. This is a really neat thing. He created a Dynamite Thor T-shirt. It's kind of neat. So get your nerd on there. These are some of John's other works. He's really accomplished with publishing comics and science fiction. So once again, just look up Dynamite Thor, grab a copy, and I'd give you a big hug, a virtual hug, right? Anyway, so there's that, and then so QAnon drops. I don't know. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Another really major event for me was being on No White Guilt. That's massive. Please do go see that if you can. Look up, No White Guilt, the after party. Check it out on YouTube. Just look at Donald Kent, the after party. You'll find it on YouTube. And then just last night, I was on on the White Art Collective with Nullis. It's a poetry show, and this is Poetry in the Time of Plague. So that's dlive.tv / White Art Collective. I was on there with the amazing Hyrith and Frosty Venus, which is she produces video, and you can check her out on Phoenix Fire on YouTube. So this content's coming. I've been really, really tied up with this lot of stuff in my personal life that has kind of slowed me down. I'm being affected in my community, with the virus, and I can't really get too deep into the details. It's kind of personal, but just trying to buck up and keep going forward. So I just want to thank everybody for joining me. There's great things coming down the line. I'll definitely get you guys clued in on new stuff. Stay tuned. So God bless and stay safe.